this interview with Jeanie, it's about to come on. It's going to rock. Make sure you have a pen and paper handy. You're ready to take notes because she's going to share the wisdom about how you can really develop your self-confidence, your boldness, how to really develop the resilience to not be bullied, to not care what other people think, and to really develop your own self-esteem and self-image. We'll talk about that in a second. Before that, though, let's talk about the sponsor message, and that is the 21-day challenge. If you're an entrepreneur or a high achiever, you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, lost, you're just not making the progress that you want to in life, and you want to really reignite that self-belief, ignite that inner fire, and succeed like never before. That's exactly what the 21-day challenge is for, to help you get crystal clear on your big dreams and goals, break it down into bite-sized steps, and hold you accountable to achieving that over the next 21 days. If you're interested and committed, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook and message me there. Thanks so much in advance. Now let's talk about the iTunes review of the week, and it's by Morgana Ray. I saw her jump on earlier today. She's a superstar. OMG, Morgana says, Chris has the greatest energy in the world. I really appreciate how much love and care he brings to his interviews. Thank you so much, Morgana. I appreciate you sending lots of love. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes and give us a review. Let us know how we're doing, how we can grow and improve and become our greatest possible selves with you. Thank you so much in advance for doing that. Let's introduce this powerhouse. And again, have a pen, have paper ready to take notes, because Jeanie's going to share the gold with you. And by the end of this interview, you are going to be on fire with passion, with courage, and becoming your greatest possible self. So stick around all the way through to the end, because I firmly believe in an instant life can transform. So you never know what one golden nugget that's going to change the rest of your life. Stick around. We got Jeanie, who is a 2-time best-selling author, professional speaker, experienced educator, and parent. Jeanie Cisco-Meth shares her scientifically proven system for improving communication and decreasing conflict. Yes, please. She has written many magazine articles, been quoted in Forbes, and was a paid contributor for TheBlaze. She has been a guest on radio stations across the country and locally on KSL. She has appeared on television for ABC4, Free Speech TV, and others. And we're blessed to have her here with us today. Jeanie, are you ready to rock this?
I am ready to rock it, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. We're so grateful to have you here, Jeanie. And let's dive right into the question of the day, the theme of the day, which is how to own yourself. So, Jeanie, how do you own yourself, and how do you encourage and invite our audience to do the same thing, to own themselves?
I think the first thing you have to do in owning yourself is the same thing as believing in yourself. That voice gets in our head, right, and stops us from so much greatness. And when I know who I am, when I believe in who I am, I'm unstoppable.
Wow. Wow. So powerful. I was just like, boom, right out the door, right hook. I love it. I love it. So awesome, Jeanie. So this is great. And you are experienced. You've done interviews. You help people get improved communication, improved conflict resolution, especially, we're talking about bully proofing people, right? So tell us a little bit more about what your clients come to you for, and what you're really a stand for.
So many people, right at the beginning of the year, right?
Yep.
Goal setting, everything's right coming out of the box. The problem is that discipline can fade very quickly. And what I do is I help people remember what it is that they want to create, because that's what discipline is. Doing what you know you need to do, even though you don't feel like it.
Yep.
When we allow that little voice to get in our head and start talking to us and saying, you can't do it, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too skinny, whatever it is, whatever our easy button is that he pushes to stop us. And so I help people take that easy button away from taking us down into the gutter, so to speak, and I put it on autopilot so that every morning I'm getting up, I'm pushing the easy button on my goals, the easy button on my dreams. And so that's what I do for my clients.
Wow. I love it. I love it. And we're going to dive into that easy button. I love that concept. And we're going to get into that. But before we get there, let's go back into your journey, Jeanie, and talk about how you became this powerhouse coach and speaker and, real empowerment specialist to help people become their greatest possible selves in the areas of communication, self-image, and achieving their goals. It wasn't always this great for you. So tell us about that journey and what you had to go and grow through to get to where we are today.
Oh my gosh, what a journey. So when I was younger, when I was in elementary school, as a matter of fact, I was diagnosed with many, many learning disabilities. Wow. And they told me I was too stupid. I would never make it through high school. I was just too stupid. And that at that time, it devastated me. You know,
Hmm.
it was like, what? Oh, but I realized it was the perfect thing that they could say to me because it ticked me off. And I was like, you don't decide, I decide.
Ah.
I dug in my heels and I'm like, I'm going to make it through
Hmm.
just to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And so I spent my elementary, middle school, high school years proving that I could do it. And
Hmm.
I spent a lot of time, a lot of effort. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it was a nightmare.
Wow.
So I couldn't read, I couldn't speak, I was legally blind, I had a
Wow.
speech impediment, I have dyslexia, so visual dyslexia as well as auditory dyslexia. So I had all these issues.
Wow.
And to now stand on the other side of it saying, wow, I've written 2 best-selling books. I
Hmm.
just finished the second rewrite of my 3rd book. It'll be coming out shortly. We're going
It's
for a
amazing.
large publisher. And I look back and think, oh my goodness, how did I do that?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked. Because I know the steps I took. I
Hmm.
know the steps that I took to get where I am. And so what I do for my clients is I shorten that time frame
Yeah.
and make it quick. And I can't say painless. There's going to be pain. There's still
Totally.
there. Whenever there's change, there's pain involved. But
Wow.
I can definitely keep you on the right track. Because if
Wow.
I can do it, oh my goodness, anybody can do it.
So
Anybody.
tell us about those early stages. Like what were some of the mistakes that you made in terms of learning and growing and overcoming these challenges and obstacles that you had?
The first thing was an argument with God.
Ah.
I had felt I was a high school teacher for 17 years, and I
Yeah.
wanted to help other people because I had developed some very specific skills to help me with my learning disability. So I thought, wow, I can help other people.
Mm,
And I absolutely love teaching,
mm,
love teaching. And in January of 2012, I had been receiving promptings for a while to transition to the stage. And I was like, not me, not me, no way,
mm,
not me. And some pretty horrific things happened, and I decided, okay, Lord, I understand now.
mm,
And we had one of our students who had not been in my class at all commit suicide, which isn't totally unusual. I worked with very high risk students.
mm.
But the difference this time was is we were sitting in a staff meeting after, and I made the comment, man, somebody should do something. And the teacher sitting right next to me looked me right in the eyes and said, yeah, somebody should. You need to write your book.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So you got that, like channel from God or the universe through this person saying, "Hey, it's time to write your book." And then what did you do from there? How did you step up and take that on? Were there any challenges in the book writing process?
Oh, absolutely. I had no idea how to write a book. First of all. Second of all, the first thing I did was I went to National Achievers Congress because I'm
Mm,
like, well, if I'm going to make this transition, I need to learn how to do it. I need
yeah.
to know what to do because
Yeah.
there's a big difference between being on a stage and
Right.
teaching and being in a classroom and teaching.
Right.
And so I had to spend some time learning out how to do that.
Hmm.
And so I went to National Achievers Congress, met Tony Robbins. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I think I shocked him because I was wearing heels, and all of a sudden there was a girl on his level. He was like, "Oh!" So that's kind of cool. And but the really neat thing was I met T. Harv Eker there.
Yeah.
T. Harv Eker started my journey as a mentor and a coach, and through some of his classes in
Mhm.
creating my program and then writing my book. And so I got educated. First thing I did was I created a desire, then I got educated on how to do the best possible that I could do.
Mm, wow. So it's like really having that desire was a key fundamental for it. First off, you got the nudge to do the book. And then you said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this book and go on the speaking thing, I need to educate myself. And so in the process of fulfilling on the desire, you said, well, I need to surround myself with people or teachers who can really help me to achieve that result that I really dream of.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love to read, which is kind
Mm,
of funny because when I was younger, I didn't like to read. It was a huge struggle for me.
right.
But now it's the easiest way for me to gain knowledge.
Wow.
And so Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich was one of my first books that I picked up. Robert Kiyosaki,
Yeah.
also Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Dennis Waitley. I mean, Zig Ziglar. I could go on and on about the books that as a high school teacher I was reading to educate and feed my mind.
Mm,
And so I took those and started implementing the steps. I take persistent, continuous action towards the attainment of whatever goal I have.
wow.
And so all of those steps I do every day. Okay, so I was a driver's ed teacher. So think about your car. I just had a huge dream come true. Just bought my Porsche.
Yeah. Get it.
I know, it's so exciting. Well, that's because I would never ever take my hands off the wheel of my Porsche, right? It's the same thing with my mind. My mind is what drives my vehicle, my body.
Yeah.
But the problem is so many people just allow their mind to wander, to go wherever they want it to go. I put my hands on the steering wheel, aka my mind, every single day, every moment of every day. I have clients who ask me, well, Jeanie, do I have to do this reporting thing Saturday and Sunday? Can I have the weekend off? I'm like, yeah, sure. You'll wind up in the ditch. Right? Because if you take your hands off the steering wheel of your car, where do you go? Nobody knows. You're in the place, right?
Yeah.
But so often we forget that our mind is driving our vehicle. We take our hands off the wheel, and some people don't even pray, right? They just take their hands off and are clueless. And so keep your hands on the steering wheel of your life, my friends.
I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit more, since we're on the topic, about these different ways to take control, take the steering wheel and drive our mind. Like what do we really get to do to have the empowering thoughts, the positive thoughts, and make that a habit? And even we talked about earlier, press that easy button. So when we wake up, it's easy to achieve our goals and do those habits.
Beautiful. So a lot of people call it different things, power hour, whatever. I call it my AM PM routine.
Yes.
Every morning I get up, I have my vision board, right, which is the things I want to create. Yep. I have my hero board, which is the people that I go to for advice. Sometimes it's just in my head, sometimes I call them. And then I also have a little piece of paper that's my AM PM routine. Okay. And it has the things that I do every single day. One, my vision board. Every day I'm in front of my vision board going, okay, what do I want to create today? What's the neat thing next? Yep. Number two, I have declarations every day. I can do this. With God, anything is possible. He says to ask and receive. Knock and it will be opened. Seek and ye shall find. And then it goes on and on. It's Matthew 7. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Too many people are asking for not enough. They forget that God is right there holding your hand. It's like, okay, I love Michael Jordan. I know that dates me a little bit, right? But I love Michael Jordan. It's like having Michael Jordan as my basketball coach and me going in and saying, so, hey, what do you want to spend the hour doing? No. I go into Michael Jordan. I say, hey, this is what I've learned so far. How can you take me to the next level? What can we do next, right? Yep. So many people go to God and say, hey, God, can you just help me pay my bills this month? And God's like, okay, I got more. You want more? I got more. And so I'm learning to ask for more. Wow. So vision board, declarations, faith. I always spend time in the Bible, understanding, connecting to God. And then I take inspired action. I first started, it was action, all kinds of action, all over the place, just crazy action, right? Now it's very inspired, targeted action. Yeah.
That's amazing. So as far as the inspired action, what do you do to prepare yourself for those actions in the day? What works best for you?
Beautiful. Okay, so I was also in the Army, and so we do target practice, right? And I don't know if you've ever fired guns or not, but there's a big difference between a shotgun blast and a bullet, a sniper bullet, right? Right. And so when I'm standing in front of my vision board, I'll look at the different postings that I have on my vision board, and I'll say, okay, which one kind of stands out to me today? And then pop out, oh, that's the one I need to focus on. Wow. Then I ask the question, what action do I take? Wow. What action do I take next? And then I make sure and do that action. So I'm always in front with a pen and paper, stand in front of my vision board, pen and paper, asking it questions. The other question I ask is, who do I need to become? This is a question I asked up until December 24th. Who do I need to become to be the owner of a Porsche Cayenne? Wow. And then those answers come to me, and I write them down and I go do them. And then sometimes if I get stuck and nothing's coming through, then I'll go back and I'll say, okay, what have I been asked to do that I haven't done? What do I need to go back over?
Yeah.
And man, those are so powerful. So powerful.
Dang, that's beautiful. So that's your morning routine is like incredible, super tactical, and it's just like the basics. But it really, once you get into the habit of it, it's like mastering the basics makes everything else easy. Like it allows you to like get back on track instantly because you're always on the wheel. You know, if something happens, you have to swerve, you have to course correct an emergency, you know, put time and energy into some place that wasn't planned, then you immediately get back on track with these daily habits. And it's like every day we have the chance to start over again, so to speak, to choose, hey, what's the direction today? Okay, day goes by. What's the direction today? And it's like every time we have that choice, it's so empowering to choose intelligently and intentionally where we want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love
So
it.
powerful. Simple but significant.
Yes.
That's
Ooh.
people miss it sometimes because, well, that's too simple. It can't be that easy. Oh my
Mm.
goodness. It is simple but absolutely significant.
Yeah, yeah. And then how does your PM routine, your nighttime routine, vary from the morning?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I still do my declarations. I still
Mm.
stand in front of my vision board. The difference, though, is in the evening, I celebrate all
Ah.
that got done. So many people don't celebrate. As
Mm.
you know, right? If you know me at all, you know we do the Snoopy dance.
Yep, yep, yep.
So in
I love it.
the evening, I'm doing the Snoopy dance. Whether
Yeah.
I'm physically dancing or I'm journaling it and writing out, hey, this is what I learned today.
Wow.
This is what I put into action. These are, this is what I did.
Yeah.
And so I do vision board, I do declarations, I do journaling, and then I spend more time in God's word,
Mm.
studying and understanding, or I'll read a book. Sometimes I'll do both. Just finished Joel Osteen's book, Breakout. Oh my goodness,
Nice.
phenomenal book, phenomenal.
Nice. Yeah,
I
my mom got it for me, I think like 2 years ago, and she's like, "I know you're getting into this personal development and stuff. Like, here you go. Here's a great book." I was like, "Thank you, mom." You know, so it's like really it when we invest in those sources, whether it's a coach, whether it's books, whatever it might be, we really see enormous results from that. And even investing into habits, like investing into morning and the nighttime routine, so important. And I want to teach our audience a little bit more about the confidence and the self image. And before we really dive into that, Jeanie, we've reached the first GPS game of this interview. So it's the 15-minute mark, and every hour we do these games. So go ahead, and if you're in the audience right now, share this video and tag 3 people, and you'll get entered into a contest to win a self-help book. Exactly what we were just talking about. If you want to win one of these awesome books that we're talking about, go ahead and do that right now. I dropped it in the comments, and make sure you register for the contest so you have your chance to win. So Jeanie, let's talk about confidence and self-image, because that's a big part of what you teach about, and really being able to communicate effectively. Like let's dive into that whole world. Where do we start with that?
No, beautiful. First of all, I got to get a hold of it, right?
Yeah,
So I have that little voice inside my head. First of all, I have to be aware of it
yeah.
because they'll say, that little voice in your head, and some people are like, what little voice? Yeah, that one. Okay, so first of all, I got to be aware of it,
Yeah.
and then I got to get a hold of it, and I got to get the negative out and
Okay.
away from me. And so I have an exercise called up, out, and away. And so I get a hold of those negative emotions, and I get them up, out, and away from me. And I do that through writing.
Okay.
And I start with a question: I feel blank, whatever it is, because I feel sad, I feel frustrated, I feel upset, I feel angry, I feel scared because, and then I just write. And then that's the getting a hold of it and getting it out, because it comes from my mind down my arm onto my paper. Now you can type it, I like to write.
Yeah.
Then you tear it out or you print it out and you burn it. That's my favorite part. I like to burn it. Or you shred it or whatever, but you get it away from you. You don't keep it in your environment.
Wow.
So if you have outside trash, take it out, throw away in your outside trash.
Right.
Or I like to go out on our back porch and torch that sucker.
Yep. Yep. Wow. So that's whenever your feet.
Yeah, get a hold of them, get them up, out, and away from you.
How do you know if it's the right time or the right thoughts that you need to do this exercise, Jeanie?
I do it. So on the odd days, I do the angry ones. It always amazes me because I'll be thinking, I've had a really good day. And then I'll sit down, right? I'm frustrated because, and oh my gosh, it pours out.
Wow.
So if you think of a cup, and how much water's in a cup. I did a Facebook Live recently with different containers, and we all have our emotional cups. And then someone comes along and they're full. They're full to the brim. So the easiest way to get rid of that emotion is dump it on someone else. When all of a sudden my cup overflows and runs over, and I dump it on someone else, right? And it just keeps escalating and dumping and dumping. Well, if I practice maintenance, where I take those emotions and I drain them off, I can handle more. Capacity, there's more of my capacity available. And so by doing this on the odd days, now when I first started, I did it every single day for 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks. I feel frustrated, angry, upset, disappointed, embarrassed. Embarrassed is another one. Because and just write it out. Then now I'm on a maintenance program where on the odd days, I do the angry emotions or the somewhat negative emotions. And on even days, I do the positive ones.
Wouldn't you want to keep the positives in you and keep fueling the positive?
So I have 2 journals. One is a spiral bound and it's black. I can tear it out, throw it away. Then I have a composition hardbound copy or a journal that I keep all the positives. I go back and I look at them from time to time and I go, oh, yeah, I remember when I created that.
Wow.
I've been wanting a Porsche since 2007. My husband wanted one since he was 12. And one since 2007. So in a way, that tells you how this works too, right? Because I got the idea and I really started working it 2 years ago. It's got my vision board, my declarations, got all my ducks in a row, so to speak. So in 2 years, I manifested a Porsche Cayenne.
Wow.
And there were very specific steps. But when I go back and I look at that, where I was thinking, what I was going through, because if I don't, then I won't continue to keep it.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like you have to be aware of the habits and the behaviors that are producing the success and the results. Because if you don't study that and remind yourself often, then like it could just turn into like a one-off thing once in a while, like when you get lucky versus deliberate and practiced.
Right.
Yeah.
It's taking your hands off the wheel. I just created my Porsche. Woohoo, woohoo. And then you take your hands off the wheel, right? And when within a week you're in the ditch, you're like, what happened? Keep your hands off the wheel. Keep your hands on the wheel.
Wow.
So
it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So when people are developing the discipline of this, where do you think that they might fall short or fall off the track and not complete these simple but effective habits?
Great question. The problem, and I saw it with my students, I worked with students who were in custody. So they had a history of making bad decisions. And they would come to me and say, Jeanie, I don't get a home visit this weekend. My parole officer is such a jerk, or my judge. And I say, well, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. How long were you a criminal before you got caught? Well, I said, no, that's crap. How long were you a criminal before you got caught? And then I said, I know our justice system. You were a criminal, you got caught. You got a slap on the hand. You went home. You were a criminal. You got caught. You got another slap on the hand, right? So I said, how long were you that? Well, 5 years. Okay. You've been making good decisions for 3 months. And you think you got it figured out? So you've got to have patience and remember, you're taming a bully that has lived in your head for years. Wow. And so it took me a while to become the person I needed to become to own a Porsche. It took a while. It took me a while to become the person I needed to be to write 2 best-selling books. It doesn't happen overnight. That's why I said there's going to be pain. Because every morning you get up and you do your routine. And at about a week or 2, you go, this stuff doesn't work. Okay, think about bamboo. Japanese bamboo takes 5 years before anything shows above the ground.
Wow.
Corn takes 2 weeks. Right? Corn takes 2 weeks. You don't just plant the corn and next week you're out there harvesting. So remember, you're planting seeds of greatness in your mind. Then you've got to weed, right? Get them up, out, and away. Get the negative thoughts up, out, and away. Weed it, water it, put good stuff in. Put the sunshine on it and let it grow so that you can harvest it. Anytime you start getting disappointed, say, okay, am I growing bamboo or am I growing corn? Because bamboo, 5 years, no notice, nothing at all. then it grows 90 feet a month. 90 feet a month. That's 3 feet a day.
Dang.
Holy moly, right? Whereas corn grows, a little bit each day,
Right.
but it takes a while. But man, 90 feet?
Dang.
So this is the other thing you got to be ready for, because people get stuck, they're doing their action, like this is never going to happen. Then boom, their business takes off, right? 90 feet in a month, and they fall apart because they weren't ready for that.
Wow.
So the whole time, have faith. It's coming. I promise you, my friends, it's coming. Get ready for it. Clean out your garage. Yeah. You know how many times I went down to the Porsche dealer in the last 2 years? Sat in the car, turned on the radio, rolled the windows up and down, saw if my son would fit in the back. He's 6'9", it takes a get, right? Got my daughter in there. We drove it to home, pulled it in to make sure it would fit in the garage. What do I need to move? I'm getting ready for my Porsche.
Yeah.
So make space. I have people that are, some of my clients are wanting to get married. I'm like, do you have space for him in your house? Well, no. Make space.
Yeah.
Clean up that mess.
Yeah.
Look, you got clutter. If a friend were to come over right now and see your house, would you be embarrassed? But yet you want to attract friends and a spouse? Ain't gonna happen. Get ready to receive, my friends. It's coming.
I love it. I love it. It's really like, who do you have to become? And in the process of becoming, it's not just being in terms of like the ethereal, but it's like, how would that person act? What would they do differently? How would your environment look differently? How would your space be different? How would you design, your affirmations and your declarations and your vision board? Like, someone who attracts greatness is going to have these things as tools and like know themselves as reliable with being able to use them consistently all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. So I want to ask about the bully proofing aspect. Really, where did the bully proofing you, and you mentioned the bully in your head, where did this particular conversation come from?
Okay, so I have a copy of my book here.
Yes.
And so we're running a special. So if you guys want to go to www.bullyproofingyourbook.com, all I ask is that you pay shipping, and I'm going to autograph it and get it out to you. That's my gift to your listeners and stuff today.
Thank you, Jeanie.
But this book came from me learning. It was a program that I developed to teach my students. Right? These are kids who have not been making good decisions.
Right.
I had been teaching probably about 2 years, and I had a student by the name of Thomas. Sorry. Never mind, you don't know his last name, right? I was like, his name.
We'll call him Jose.
I had a student who had 8 kids. He was 17 years old and had 8 kids. Wow. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I started asking my other students. Yeah. Most of them were parents. All of them were in state's custody for some reason or another. Most of them were on drugs. And I'm like, wow, we got to help these people out. They need help. Yeah. And so I started developing a system all about mindset, all about mindset. What you think about comes about if you take persistent, continuous action.
Yeah.
But then I noticed that they had glitches, and the glitches was the bully in the head. The glitches were the bullies outside of them. Parents, right? My students thought that a family reunion was the point of the mountain, which is the state penitentiary here. So they thought, well, what's so bad? Mom's there, Dad's there, Uncle Joe's there. What's so wrong? And I'm like, no, there's so much more to life. Yeah. So much more to life. And so we had to tame the external bullies, which is what this book is all about. This is all about how to tame external bullies. Okay. It dives a little bit into, the first part is all about belief in self, because personal value is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Yeah. Then it also goes into perspective. Why do people bully? Hurt people hurt people. And if you can remember, it's not about you at all. It's about them and the pain they're in. Then it's more likely you can let it go. And then the last part is all about planned responses. What do I say to myself or to others to end a bullying attack? So that's what this one is about. My third book that I just wrote is all about taming the bully inside our head. Because other people may stop us temporarily, but only I can stop myself permanently. And so that little voice that says, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not whatever. I've never met a person. I've had the privilege of traveling all over this country sharing this message. We're going to Ireland in June. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we'll be international. We'll also have some engagements coming up in Europe. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
But I've never met a person who does not have a bully in their head. I never have. We all have a bully. And the reason the external bully is so profound or so impactful is because all it's doing is repeating what the internal bully has already said. It's validating that internal bully. And so we've got to stop that voice. And that's exactly what I do. It comes in, stop, stop. And sometimes it takes me yelling out loud, stop, because it just keeps coming.
Yeah.
Right? Stop. Another phrase I use is clean cut, move down. And that comes from the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. Where they're all sitting around the table and he's like, clean cut, move down, move down. And I'm like, man, if I could do that with my thoughts, right? That negative thought comes in. Whoa, no, clean cut. I'm looking over here. I'm filling my cup with positive things. I'm filling my cup with amazing things. Not that, nope, not that. Because of the cross, I am flawless. I'm flawless. And every morning when I wake up in the morning, I say, God, thank you for another day to become the person you see in me. Become the person you see in me. I know I'll never get there, but I love the journey. The journey is what counts. I went down, bought my Porsche, drove it home, and I'm like, where's the marching parade? Where's the band, right? There was none of that. I worked so hard, and then it was really cool. Right. And now I get to drive it every day. But what's my next, right? What's my next journey? Where am I going now? So you really have to enjoy the journey. You really have to get keyed in, get those hands on the steering wheel, know where you're going.
Yeah. What's something you do to really enjoy the journey and savor the moment?
Every day I celebrate. Gratitude is the number one. Gratitude. There was a time in my life when I didn't have 25 cents for a taco at Taco Bell. I was a single parent. We had no money. I was on state's assistant. We got food stamps, and I had a little girl. But we didn't have any money. And now I look at all the layers. My husband has been beautiful at saying, babe, we have this layer and this layer and this layer and this layer, because every time something pops up, my first reaction is, go get a job, go get another job. No, that's not the right answer. But I had to learn that it's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of perceiving. And so first of all, I stop, I take a deep breath, and I go, hey, I got a house, I got food, right? Even my daughter never, ever went hungry. I'm very, very proud of that fact. There were nights when I did. And I don't mean the kind of hungry where you go to the cupboard and you open it up and you're like, oh, there's nothing I want to eat. I mean the kind of hungry you open up the cupboard and there's no food. There's no food in the cupboard. And so I have so much more now. And even in that time when I didn't have any food, I still had a house. I still had a bus that I could ride. I still had books that I could check out from the library to teach my mind what to focus on and where I wanted to go. And so everybody has something to be grateful for. If you look at Job, right? Oh my gosh, that story used to scare the bejeebers out of me. And then about 6 months, I'm like, okay, it's time to reread it. And I reread it and I saw it in a totally different perspective. And I don't know if it's the right perspective or not, but it was a great perspective for me. And I looked at it with the eyes of, wow, God knew Job so profoundly that he allowed those tests to come because he knew Job could withstand them. I want him to have that kind of faith in me. I want him to know, I played basketball and I'm a pretty aggressive player. I absolutely love basketball. And I was playing at the University of Utah, and it was a girls team and the boys team. We were mixing it up. And I took a charge, and this guy goes up over the top of me to lay it in and nails me right in the chest with his knee, lays me out flat. And he tries to tell me that I had fouled him. And the lead person on our team was also on the boys team. And he's like, not that girl. My girl's got it. She was set. And I thought, man, I don't want God to say that about me. My girl's got it.
Wow.
I've given her this mission and she's got it.
Yeah.
And so in the moment of the despair, in the moment of, oh crap, what have I done? Where am I going? What am I supposed to do? I push the easy button for God and I say, God, fill me with your love. Remind me whose I am, because I am a child of the Most High God. And I know you wouldn't hand it to me if I couldn't handle it.
That's right.
So help me rise to the occasion instead of shrink back and cower.
So powerful. Jeanie, this is gold. And I think it's like the spiritual practice, having some kind of spiritual practice, having that faith, that muscle of faith as a daily part of our life is so important, because it really just like, it invites in possibility. It invites in omnipotence, that we as human beings, like, we know we're not like quote unquote all powerful all the time. We get in our own way, dang it. So it's like to be able to invite that in and be able to receive that and welcome that in. That's super important. So I really love that that's a fundamental for you. I want to talk about core values in a second, because I know you mentioned that that's super important. Before that though, we're at the 30-minute game for this GPS Games 30-minute game. The first person to comment after I put the text in the comments below, you get entered into a drawing to win a free self-help book. So first person to comment, and make sure you register for the games as well, you'll get a chance to win. So Jeanie, let's talk about these core values and really like dialing those in. Where do we start with core values and knowing what those are?
For me, it's integrity. Integrity with others and integrity with myself.
Yeah.
So often people have integrity with others, but they don't always have integrity with themselves. And I have to admit, I fall down here sometimes. I will say I'm going to do something and then I don't. I let myself off the hook, or I come up with an excuse, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly working on having total integrity with myself. I realized this a few months ago when I was meeting with a mentor of mine. And she says, I don't remember exactly how she said it, but basically it was, well, why do you have to make a commitment with someone else? Why isn't a commitment with yourself enough? And I was like, I don't know. I started searching, I started looking, and I realized as I looked back at my past that if I told someone else I was going to do it, it was done.
Yeah.
Or I was going to die trying, right? But so many times I would say, okay, I'm going to do this because it's good for me. I would back off. I would say, oh, well, so-and-so needs this or so-and-so needs that. Self-care is so important, so important. And I didn't realize it until I started practicing it. And every time I fall off that wagon, so to speak, and I stop taking care of self, within a few weeks, I'm in the ditch. And I'm like, how did I get here? Oh, yeah, I need to take care of me too. And so self-care is scheduled right into my schedule. And I don't move it. When I first started putting self-care on, somebody said, hey, Jeanie, can you meet me at? Oh, yeah, I move my self-care. No, I don't move it. I keep it there. I take care of myself so I can take care of others.
That's beautiful. My girlfriend, she's like, I don't do any work before 11 a.m. Like I have my morning routine, I work out, I have this like spacious morning routine. And then at 11, like that's when I go all in, and then at the nighttime, like 6 o'clock, it's like, I'm done. We're done with technology. We're done with the business, and we focus on rest and relaxation. It's like when you're doing something, be all in it and like give yourself that space and enjoy life too. That's really what I find what creates our enjoyment and our fulfillment as well.
Yes, absolutely. There is a while back when people were talking about multitasking, right? Oh, multitasking is the best. No, it's not. It's horrible. It's a blight. It's a plague. Give all of your focus to one thing, finish it, tie a bow on it, set it aside, start the next thing. Don't let one thing bleed into another. It takes up too much mind space.
Right.
And you can't focus as well on whatever it is you're currently working on. So I do jam sessions. This comes from Darren Hardy. I've been part of his insane productivity. Absolutely love it. Jam
That's
sessions,
awesome.
90 minutes, total 100% focused. Whether I'm writing my book or writing content or whatever, 100% focus. Or I'm meeting with a client. When you're meeting with a client, you're not doing other things on the side. Hopefully you're not. If you are, stop. Stop. Don't do that anymore. But focus. It's the same thing when you're out to dinner. I have the most incredible husband in the world. I love him so much. And when we go out to dinner, the phones get put away.
Yeah.
Now, once in a while, they don't. But you know what? It costs us. Costs us. And so phones get put away. We have date nights. We spend time together, and we're focused on one another. Because whatever I focus on and give attention to, it grows. It gets better. We've been married over 16 years, have an absolutely incredible relationship, and it keeps getting better. I'm like, there's another level. I didn't even know there was another level. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I love that. I love that because I've been dating my girlfriend for about a year, and we heard from our friends, some friends, they're like, oh, well, enjoy it while it lasts. Once you have kids, it gets worse. I'm like, nope, that's not our reality.
Wake up, move down.
Right. So it's like you really get to create the story, and it's like the people have the misconception that when you get older, you lose mobility, you can't do as much as you used to. It's like, no, create the story that you get more youth, you get more energy as you get older, you get more passion, you get more clarity on what fires you up, what's important to you, what your values are. And I think it's like just rewriting that story. And I know that's a big part of bully proofing yourself is like change the story, change what you're telling about yourself, and talking the way you talk to yourself, and the story, the narrative of your life is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was at a Tony Robbins event a while back, and he asks the question, he says, so I want you to think of a person who's 70 years old. Get that picture in your mind. Okay, now close your eyes. And then he's like, open them. And he says, is this what you had in mind? There's a 70-year-old buff dude there. And I'm like, whoa, right? If it's not, why not? Why do you have that vision in your mind?
Yeah.
So every morning, if you're a parent and your kid's getting ready to go to school, build them up. Talk to them. Hey, what are you going to do today? Oh, no. Clean cut, move down. We're going to have an incredible day today. I see you going to school. I see you being productive. I see you being engaged. I see you standing tall. I see people coming to you for help. Write their story.
Wow.
Help them write it.
Yeah.
Hero board. Remember I talked about that earlier. Hero board. This is who I'm coming. Do the same thing for kids.
Yes.
Let them pick people that they want to use, that they want to emulate. Do not pick them for yourself. If your kid picks Batman, awesome. Say, why did you pick Batman? Well, I love him because. Listen to what they say, and that's the mental picture. Because I have words that I use that don't always work for my clients, but they work for me.
Right.
So I always ask my clients, what does that word mean to you? Because it doesn't matter what it means to me.
Right.
So if you ask your child, what does Batman mean to you? And they say, well, he's got integrity, and he's a hard worker, and he saves people. Awesome. He goes on the vision board. He goes on your hero board.
Yes. Right?
Yes. And then every morning before they go to school, look at your hero board. And let them remember, let them, and if they have mom and dad on there, great. If they don't get attached to it.
Yeah.
Don't get attached to it. Let them pick. And I suggest you get a hero board.
Yes.
You get a hero board. Who do I look up to? And there are certain people that sometimes get removed from my hero board because they're my heroes. You know what? But they're human. Remember, they're human. And so allow them some space. But sometimes you find out things about a hero that you need to remove them. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, it's like you modeled them for the qualities that you appreciated, that you saw, and if you find out more information, it's like, hey, that like they're human and they no longer hold this quote unquote sacred space in my life. I can find someone who's a better alignment or a fit to look up to as a hero because they are, in integrity with my values and beliefs.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I wanted to ask you a quick question about for kids, how do you know who their heroes are if they're like, a baby, like just being born? How can you empower them to create a hero board? If they're 6 months old or 12 or months or, 24 months old, how do you create that?
you get to choose yourself.
Yay.
So if they can't choose yet, you get to choose.
Mm.
So my son, my youngest, is 20. He moved out in June. Yes, I'm an empty nester.
Yay.
About 3 months after he moved out, he comes back to me and he says, Mom, you're like a ninja mentor. I'm like, what? And he's like, all the smells and the music and stuff that you would always play that I gave you bad time about. He said, I missed that. And he said, I
Oh,
realize you were setting me up for success
wow.
because I create an environment of love, support,
Mm,
encouragement,
mm,
and that is all that is allowed in my house. Everything else is left outside. It does not come into my home.
wow.
But he didn't realize that until he left the environment.
Yeah.
So you, as the parent, create the environment in your home.
Mm,
Now,
mm.
my kids got to create the environment in their room as they got older. That's your room. Max, if you want to kiss goodnight, I need a path because I don't like crunching when I walk in.
Yep. Yep.
But, if he wanted a mess in his room, he could have a mess. I just needed a path to the bed to give him a kiss.
Yeah.
But that was his environment. But then
Mm,
when he would come from his environment that was a mess into my environment that was clean and orderly and taken care of, he's like, there's a difference here.
mm,
The only way to become aware is to have a choice.
mm,
If you don't have two opposing things, you don't have a choice. You don't have an option.
mm,
So the reason you know your bully is tamed is because you've had a bully.
mm.
And so don't get upset at the struggles. Don't get upset at the negative. Be grateful that it shows you the positive.
Yeah.
The reason I am so grateful for my food storage
Mm,
is because there was a time in my life when I didn't have any. And if I didn't know that, I wouldn't be as grateful for my food storage now.
mm. Wow. That's so powerful. It's so powerful. I love it. And it's like really having that contrast, the contrast of the negativity illuminates what you really desire. And that was one thing I wanted to ask you, Jeanie, is about your like incredible discipline and commitment and tenacity to having a positive life and creating that positive life. I want to ask the why behind that and kind of like what really stoked the flames for that to be able to you're like a superhero of personal development, of mindset work, right? And I want to dive into why and what really fueled that in a moment. Right now, we're at the third GPS game of this interview. That's the 45-minute game, and you get to share your biggest takeaway that Jeanie has mentioned in this interview. She's been sharing gold and wisdom, and the person who shares the best one will get entered into the drawing to win a self-help book for the day. So go ahead and write your feedback. What was your biggest takeaway? And make sure you register for the contest. So Jeanie, what stoked this flame to be so super powered on your crusade and your mission and your journey to be a mindset master? What really fueled that for you?
So there's different, I can think back in my mind and there's different landmarks. The first one was my teacher saying you'll never make it. I was like,
Mm,
excuse me?
mm,
That was really kind of where it started.
yeah,
The second one was as a child looking around our family and going, I was raised with a mindset of total scarcity. We don't
mm,
have enough. Money doesn't grow on trees.
mm,
Oh, you can't have that. My mom made a lot of our clothes. We did a lot of canning and picking, growing our own food, that kind of thing. And I thought, I want new clothes. I want
mm,
clothes that are mine, that weren't made from grandma and grandpa's.
mm,
And so that started fueling it as well. And
mm,
then as a single parent going, this really sucks. This really sucks. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. She had a dog who had gotten hurt and it was like $5,000 or something to help their pet. And I was like, I would
wow,
never pay that.
wow,
And she said, then you shouldn't have a dog. And I said, I would never pay that because it would mean that my family would go without.
wow,
I didn't even have food on the table.
right,
But now I look back on that. Our dog has had back surgery. She was paralyzed. It was $5,000, and we
Wow.
paid for that.
Wow.
And so I look at the difference and I go, I want to be abundant so
Mm.
I can help others. I know way too many people who are money martyrs, so
Mm.
to speak.
Yeah.
Well, money's bad, so I don't want money. No, money's not bad. It's just like a weapon. A weapon, it depends on whose hand it's in.
Mm.
Money's not bad. It just accentuates who you are. I'm a giving, loving, caring person. And I have watched the more I'm able to give, the more I'm able to help, the better steward I am of what I have, the
Mm.
more God gives me.
Mm.
And so wherever you're at, you don't have to give money. If you don't have money, you can give time.
Yeah.
Because even when I had no money and I was on state's assistance, I had time and I had my mind.
Mm.
I gave it to those that I could. I've always tithed. My whole life, I've always tithed. And it's so cool to watch that number grow.
Mm.
The amount of hours that I have, the amount of money that I have. And so I look back at that and I go, I know what scarcity is. I know what being broke is. And I know what abundance is. And I'm really looking forward to even more abundance.
Yes.
And so it's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm.
You know, I can easily take my hands off that wheel and wind up in the ditch and immediately go into scarcity and fear and doubt and, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Or I can keep my hands on the wheel and say, nope, this is where I'm going. I'm turning towards abundance. I'm having
Mm.
faith in God and I'm going this way.
Yeah.
Come on, but we're going this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I hear as well is like in your awareness of what you want and don't want, in your defiance of what someone tried to what's the word, they tried to prophesize, so to speak, over you of what you can't do, right? And you're like, I'm not believing that. That's not my story. I'm doing something completely different. You had to become like such a stand, a vigorous, vigilant stand for what you would create and what you did want. And it was in those moments, in the defining, milestones along your journey, that you became this woman who's like such a leader and a powerhouse of transformation and mindset coaching and empowerment, that like you almost, it's like it's impossible to see it any other way for you. In your house, in your home, like you don't tolerate negativity, you don't tolerate like toxicity, and your son thanked you for that. Your son said thank you for having such incredibly high standards and doing the stuff that seemed so weird in the beginning, but now like I miss it. And that's such an important part of who he is, because you rubbed off on him, and it made a lasting impression on him. So I think it's just so amazing that as we grow through our journey, it's like recognize what we can use to leverage, to say, I'm not going towards that. That's not me. I won't believe that. I am 100% committed in this other direction of empowerment, of positivity, of growth. And I hear that you've like really leveraged those masterfully. And if people are listening or watching right now, what can you leverage even more masterfully to create growth, to create, your launching point, your rocket point, to say, from now on, I'm making the decision that I hold the wheel and I'm directing my mind, I'm directing my life, I'm focusing on where I want to go.
Yeah. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I have mentors as well. I have
Yeah.
people that help me because like I said, I just got a big thing off my vision board. I just got a Porsche Cayenne off my vision board.
Yeah.
I know, it's so cool. But I realized yesterday that I had let my hands go with wheels. I didn't
Wow.
have a story immediately to take in. Where
Hmm.
am I headed now? And
Yeah.
I realized this yesterday because I realized I'm in the ditch. What happened?
Hmm.
Oh, I took my hands off the wheel.
Hmm.
So I had something come true and I didn't have another story matching it ready to go.
Hmm.
And so I've just kind of, just kind of coasted. Thought it'd be all cool. I just got a Porsche. I'm coasting. No, I'm wound up in the ditch. I immediately pull out my AM PM routine, stick it back up on the wall, get things going, get
Hmm.
everything going. Because I continued to do my declarations and my positive music and stuff,
Yeah.
but I wasn't journaling. And
Wow.
I wasn't doing very specific things. I hadn't spent any time in God's word, and I hadn't
Mm.
journaled. I hadn't got a hold of those negative emotions and got them out. And so what
Mm.
happened was that negative voice started coming in, right?
Yeah.
Planting those seeds. They started growing. Oh man, we've been yanking them weeds out yesterday and today. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what else I hear is one of your big values is integrity. So if you know that there's like two or three other things that you should be doing that you're not doing, like should be because it's your code of honor, it's your moral compass. Like when you're doing these, you're 100% in everything that you do. You're 100% in integrity, and it's like those little tiny things that are out of integrity, or that most people will be like, oh, you didn't read the Bible this week, that's cool, like you're already doing all this other stuff, you're doing the declarations, you're focused on your vision board. Like other people will be like, oh, it's cool, you're good, but you know that there's more to you. You're meant for something greater than these couple things that you're kind of sweeping under the rug or not paying attention to. And we all have those things that we get to deal with on a daily basis. So really, that impeccability I hear is also super important for you, Jeanie. Like having your word, your promises to yourself, your integrity be impeccable. That's so powerful.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And it's being aware, that analogy of my hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
did I was not even aware that I had let go of the steering wheel.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
when I wound up in the ditch, I'm like, oh.
Oh.
So now, I knew
Yeah.
that when I went on vacation, because back in June, my husband and I went to Myrtle Beach, had an absolutely incredible time. And before we left, he's like, you're not going to work. You're not going to do any work on this vacation. And I realized I'm a workaholic because I had withdrawals. I was like freaking out. Also, didn't take my AM/PM routine.
Mm.
Time I got home, I was in the ditch. And
Wow.
so I knew that when I go on vacation, I got to keep working it. But
Yep.
I didn't know that after I get a big goal, I still got to have my AM/PM routine. I
Yep.
still got to keep my hands
Yep.
on the wheel. You still can't coast. You still
Yeah.
got to stay focused.
That's right. That's right, Jeanie. I love this. This is amazing. I know our audience wants to know, how can they continue the journey with you, Jeanie? What's their next steps to take? Because this is just the tip of the iceberg of your expertise, of your wisdom, of what you're really able to offer people. And you mentioned the website. I'll mention it again as well. bullyproofingyobook.com. You guys are able to go there and get that book for free. All you do is pay shipping and handling, and you get a book for free. And Jeanie's gonna write her signature on it and send you a nice note, and it's just as a thank you for our audience. I really appreciate that, Jeanie. For everyone tuning in right now, go to bullyproofingyobook.com to get your copy of Bullyproofing You. And how else can they continue the journey with you, Jeanie?
You can send me an email, Jeanie@JeanieCisco-Meth.com. I have a website. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. The
Love
neat
it.
thing is I am the only Cisco meth there is.
Wow. Wow.
So not too many people can say that. You go Google
Mm.
their name or whatever, and a whole bunch of people pop up. I'm the
Yeah.
only Cisco meth. It's spelled just like computers and drugs. So you will find me.
I love it. I love it, Jeanie. You are amazing. Thanks so much for being on here and the work that you're doing in the world. And we'll definitely have you back on when your next book comes out, because I'm sure it'll be amazing. You'll have all kinds of different things to share about with the chapters and the different teachings that you have in it. So thanks for being on here. You're incredible. You're a brilliant light in the world. And I really acknowledge you for taking on the stand that you are to help people bully-proof themselves and dial in their self-love, their self-care, and be their best selves. I really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much. I've absolutely loved it. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Jeanie. We'll see you soon, okay?
Hey, bye for now.
All right. Bye for now.